Hi guys, Gary Fong here. So I just had my physical, and I was talking to my doc about why my biological age went down 4 years since the last physical. Anyway, I've been doing a lot of research on EMFs because what's happened lately is I've just been getting really dizzy and kind of like, and I notice when there's a building that's kind of near my office that just kind of has made things kind of whack nut. So I went and bought this thing here, which is called an EMF meter, and went around and did some readings of like my mobile phone and my router and my microwave, and just did a lot of like experimenting. What I started to realize was that there's a lot of EMF protection that can come from crystals, and I'm going to talk about that, and then also the health benefits of crystals. To make things super short, I found this. This is called a Shungite pendant, and what this does is this drastically reduces EMF exposure from whatever cell towers, your phone, microwaves, and I did some tests with this thing and saw some pretty amazing results. So I wanted to get into the how this works because it seems really interesting to me. So first of all, let's talk about crystals. People go, ooh, you're into crystals, so you're all hippie and weird and all that. And before you go there, let me just challenge you with this one thought. Everything that we use that's electronic is crystals. The anything that has a microprocessor uses crystals, silicon dioxide or silicon valley, or transistors. Anything that ever happened after the tube, miniaturization of microcircuits and all that comes from crystals. And crystals are basically they're just something that allows you to put a current in, and it's a semiconductor. It's not. Anyway, this is all physics. It doesn't allow the signal to go through completely unfiltered. You can stepwise it with semiconductors, and that's what gives it the ability to transmit signals and have them either resonate with you and amplify and become super powerful, or it can weaken it. So let's talk about crystals. All crystals are, by definition, is anything that has a molecular structure that is orderly, like a lattice, or squares, like an ice. A snowflake is a crystal because the water has become very. It creates a lattice structure, very organized structure, and so when we get into why that's important, it's because crystals are able to transmit a signal, and they're also able to even emanate light, or they can pulse out a wavelength. Certain energy, certain vibration responds better, or I want to say resonates with the different crystals. So you've got the black ones that orgonite or whatever they're called, the shungite. A big fan of this, and I'll tell you why. But those are something that resonates at a certain frequency. And so if, they'll say, oh, this one is for your crown chakra or whatever, these are all different energetic areas that your body vibrates. And so if you want to change what resonates, you would just put a crystal in that vicinity and it would respond and you would resonate with it. So what does resonating mean? If you take two guitars side by side and you pluck the lower string, the E string, you'll find that the second guitar will also vibrate. That's called resonating. That means we're both at the same frequency, and when I push, it puts out a little pocket of air, and then this one goes, oop. And so if they're both the same kind of size string, they'll start to resonate, and that is the key to crystals. So it's really cool when you start to go into it. I'm just saying this so you can completely erase your mind from this thought of crystals and crystal stores and hippie weirdos and next will be mushrooms and LSD. I want to get you past that and just understand that crystals are simply anything that has a very orderly structure. Now, this is called Shungite. And Shungite is really trippy because in the structure, now this is 97% carbon, okay? And in the structure, it's basically a bunch of carbon. Carbon comes in a hex. I don't know if I'm doing a hex very well with my hands, a hexagon. And hexagons are really the most interesting high power resonating shape in anywhere in the universe. You'll find that on the top of Saturn, because there's such a spin that the vortex creates a hexagon pattern on top. Or even water, when spun very, very fast, you'll see a hexagon pattern that actually starts to form on the outside of the perimeter of the diameter of the circle that it's spinning. What happens with the hexagon, and we don't know why the shape is so cool. I mean, I kind of know because I had organic chemistry, and God help me, it was so boring, but we talked about benzene rings and things like that. But carbon is a 6 kind of sided hexagon, and they have bonds, which actually are double bonds, single bonds, double bonds, single bonds, and they spin. It's very, very interesting how the it's called a bivalent, but anyway, the two switch to one, then to two, and it literally is kind of like one of those repeating sine kind of a things. So that's what happens with what we call that hexagon ring. Anything that's living in the earth has carbon. Carbon is this miracle atom that is a hexagon with 6 sides. And so anything that happens, our metabolic processes require carbon, photosynthesis or citric acid cycle, or anything that has anything to do with living life is based on carbon compound. That's why when I had to take organic chemistry, and I'm like, what's organic chemistry? It's the chemistry of organic matter. And then I started to realize that all we're doing is we're just memorizing carbon compounds and combining them and the reactions that you get when combining, but everything's around carbon. And that's because in order for life, the organization of energy to matter that actually animates and has life, carbon is at the center of it. So you can't have a living entity without carbon. We're all energy. All of us are just energy, and it's this thing that we have that holds us together. It's this energy that we hold, this vibrational energy, because if we weren't pulsating this energy, we'd literally fall apart. And that's what happens when people, die. They take their energy and they go somewhere else, and then this body has nothing that's going to hold it together, so it just simply crumbles. That energy that we have that holds the body together, that creates thought, that creates emotions and patterns and paintings and poems, is all energy. Our matter is energy. And Einstein explained that so well when he came up with the theory of relativity, meaning energy is mass times this constant, which is speed of light times the speed of light. In other words, you can take a little plutonium pellet, energy, the amount, the energy that has is equal to how much mass there is times this 186,000, miles per second, that value of C. So you can take a little plutonium pellet and boom, and once that matter becomes energy, that pellet is gone, but it turned into something that could have leveled Hiroshima or Nagasaki. That is called a closed system, but we are all just energy. So just imagine if I were to completely spontaneous combust, it'd probably take out half of the earth, right? So going back to Shungite. Shungite is carbon, but structured into what they call a buckyball. A buckyball is like a soccer ball. It has, I forgot how many hexes and how many, I think it's 12 and 14 pentagons and hexagons or whatever. It has a certain shape, like the soccer ball. And if you take a soccer ball and you remove one of the hexagons, you'd find that the soccer ball is just not going to create the sphere anymore. So it's this perfect shape. And something about the energetic spin of the carbon molecule, the C60 molecule, 60 carbons, inside this perfectly built structure, creates some kind of neutralizing counterspin. What we find in our bodies is we have, I want to say, a magnetic energy or a vibrational energy that has a spin. Let's just call it counterclockwise. And that's actually something that's very well known in electricity and magnetism. In electricity and magnetism, if you have current going through a wire, you'll find that there is a magnetic field around that wire that is predicted by the way that your thumb goes. Okay, so if your thumb is in that direction, you'll know that, and the current is going that way, you'll know that the magnetic field is coming from me to you. So it's kind of perpendicular. What happens in positive vibrational energy, those of us who are free of emotional turmoil or conflict or negative energy, spin, let's just say, clockwise. And things like bacteria, viruses, negative thoughts. I know we're really kind of getting out there, but you have to hold on because this is all scientifically verified. In fact, the guys who discovered the buckyballs, the soccer ball configuration of carbon, what they call Fullerenes, won the Nobel Prize for chemistry. That's how important this is, and it's widely known. The what they call fullerene infused water or charged water has been known to break apart the AIDS virus, that package that protects the DNA of the AIDS antivirus or whatever it is. This is documented. When it goes out, something about the charge or the negative spin quality of the fullerene actually disables that, and of all crazy things, disinfects the water. It disinfects the water. It's antiviral, it's antibiotic, and it has pretty much really amazing medical cures. So the thing that I started to do was I would buy these. This is called Noble or Elite Shungite, and this is the one that actually is so pure that it will, it'll charge a bathtub, or it'll charge a really nice decanter of water. I put it in the water for like overnight or 48 hours, and then and I have a little kind of sequence of these, but it's ridiculous. You just drink this vibrator, and then because I'm sounding like snake oil salesman here. You drink this water and you have amazing energy and vibrance. I have this really cool app, and it tracks my energy, and I can put a note on it. I've been journaling pretty much all my life, and the reason I do that is because I don't want to repeat the same thing day after day. So if I figured something out, I'll quickly forget it if I don't go and review my notes. Does that make sense? So I go back and review my notes, and I think it's called Bliss. It's an app. Let me find it. It is called Blissful. And in Blissful, all you need to do is you just open it and you say, my energy level is from 1 to 5, and my mood is from 1 to 5, and you put a little note as to maybe what could have gotten you there. Ever since I started taking the this, I've just been unstoppable. I could assemble a Ferris wheel by myself with a screwdriver. That's how vibrant I feel. I feel like I'm vibrating higher. So so as soon as I got onto this, I was just like, I noticed that I'm just going all around my office and rearranging and moving furniture and kind of frantic, but just nonstop energy, productive, like beyond belief, writing, thinking, reading. But I went to yoga 2 days in a row, and did quite a nice job in overstretching, so my back was pretty thrown out of whack. I put some of these noble Shungite into a tub. Oh, you're probably asking, how much does this cost? Where is it available? You can find it on Amazon. I'm not really sure that I trust the vendors on Amazon, because the Chinese have been able to synthesize this now, just like they make synthetic diamonds and things like that. So you kind of have to be careful. I get it. There's a local store in town, Schwanda, on Ambrosian Kelowna, and then I also buy direct from the mine in Karelia in Russia. But anyway, so I took a bath. Okay, so soaked this for 48 hours, and then I just jumped in the bath, and I, was in there for about an hour, and then I came out and like, holy smokes, my back feels better. God, I feel like I'm selling you some weird crap. I'm not selling this. I'm trying to help you. So I came out of it and my back was fine. So then I just said, you know what? That was a pretty freaking cool bath. I wasn't able to heat the bath because if I put in hot water, then of course it wouldn't have been fullerene charged water. So I left the water standing, and then I had a wonderful day, was logging my, just, I want to say personal power, or my energy and vibrance and all that. And then at night, I went in again and got into that tub and just basically literally chilled because it was so cold. But I put in a space heater and cranked the hell out of that room. So it had to be just smoking hot, like probably 100 degrees or 30 something in Celsius. Still haven't figured that out. Canadian resident, but displaced here. Anyway, and got into that and got out, and I thought, God, whatever I do, I just feel incredible. I'm logging it. Yep. Energy 5, mood 5. Because you can be subjective about that. You can say, holy man, that stuff worked, but you might not really know. Your moods do shift, or you do get tired. Like I found after I would eat a fairly rich meal, I'd be kind of slogging around, right? So I'd be 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5, or 2 out of 5 if I need to take a nap. 1 if I have to have a nap. But anyway, so I thought, cool, I'll just leave that in the tub. And then I left it in there for 3 days now. I have not used any soap or shampoo or anything. Sounds disgusting, but just, I come out of it and I couldn't be more clean, I think I smell like laundry. So, and then the water was just like crystal clear. Anyway, that brought me to today. So sat down with my doctor, and we had my physical, and he's like, wow, you're in incredible shape. I forgot what my abdominal fat percentage was, but it was really low. Like everything I'm in good shape. And and he asked me, like, well, what are you doing off so many of my meds? God, I had like literally a lunchbox full of prescription meds for all these different things. And I'll get into earthing a little bit later, but I sleep with an earthing strap that is connected to ground, and there's medical research. Like, thank God I have a degree in pharmacology, and I really, I really like reading the articles from National Institutes of Health or the AMA journals, publications, or Scientific American. I'm just weird that way, right? I really like this kind of stuff. So I'll get into earthing and the importance of that. If you're just curious, you can start Googling earthing and its medical benefits and look up the peer scientific reviews, publications from actual physicians or researchers, and you'll find this isn't bahooey. This is real stuff. But anyway, my doctor is very, very well educated, very esteemed physician, and we talk medicine quite a bit when I'm over there. I'm the hobbyist doctor, right? And we talk about longevity, we talk about aging and telomeres and cancer research and all this other stuff. And lately, I've just been really following what I call energetic medicine, to know that our bodies are humming like this. But if you have something that's in the house that's humming in a discordant, doesn't harmonize, right? And you go, the other one's like, not sounding good together. That's called discordant or whatever. But what I started to find out is that we have things around us that have a vibrational energy that cancels our own positive vibrational energy, our vitality, our health, our ability to see clearly or think clearly or to process thoughts, clearly. And the way when I was talking to Grant, my physician, about our energy. So let's just say that we're just kind of like, this is our wave, our sound wave, like a sine wave. And I said that what happens is when we're around EMFs or anything like a virus or a bacteria or someone just wishing you would die, hatred or anger or emotions like that, it literally has the opposite. It's kind of like sine, cosine. It's the opposite waves. The amplitudes are kind of like against each other. And when you put these two together, you wind up with a neutral flat line. What happens when you have two that are beating together like that, then the amplitudes actually resonate and they multiply. So that's why when you get you want to work on a certain thing, you want to block yourself from people hating on you or whatever, or negative energy, or your own thoughts. You're spinning around this negative stuff that's going in the other direction, right? Your body wants to go in this direction, but your thoughts are going in that direction, and so now your body is just starting to lose the battle. It's falling apart due to stress and things like that. Quartz can align with your body, or the Indians call it the chakra, and it will actually overpower those things that are bad. I've talked to so many of my friends who are love them, yogas, hippies, and they just go, oh man, it just is, it's just like so beautiful. Like I get this crystal and everything is just like harmonious. That's true, but for the scientist like me, I need to know why this works. There's that, I'll talk about intellectual versus higher awareness, higher vibration in a coming podcast or whatever the hell this is. I feel like talking. But I wanted to know the science behind this, and now I do. So these guys are carbon that spin. They go between bivalent, single valent, bivalent, but it's called a benzene something, and it spins in a certain... Benzene is when you have all of the bonds saturated. I'm not talking about that. In a bucky ball, all of the bonds are completely taken. But the funny thing, for those of you chemists out there, the funny thing about the carbon atom is it acts like it's unsaturated. Or it acts like it's looking for hydrogen or hydroxys or whatever to attach, to break that covalent bond and saturate those bonds. It acts like that, but it doesn't break the bonds. So when I don't even know how to explain it, but I know it works. Bacteria, viruses, contaminants, lead. You can put this into tap water and it will purify the tap water. And the crazy thing is it doesn't wear out. You cannot wear out a fullerene. These things are solid. Yeah, you can break it up, sure. But I mean, molecular structure-wise, it's extremely resistant to saturation. It's really funny. You read the scientific articles about when they discovered it. I think they were discovered in 1995. I think it was a scanning electron microscope, and these three Nobel laureates who won the Nobel, I think they found it in a scanning electron microscope or something like that. But they found the resonant shape of the buckyball. And so the first thing they did is that, when they put it in water, they said, holy smokes, it purifies the water and it makes everything so clean and cool. They thought, but how do we study that? They wanted to see molecularly what is attaching to these fullerene balls, these rock solid soccer balls that are not going to be attaching to anything else because it's killing everything bad around it. And they couldn't figure it out because they weren't thinking about the energetic part of this ability to spin in the other direction. And I read an account from, I think it was the Tsar, CSAR, of Russia, who noticed that all of the villagers in Karelia, Russia, this exists in only one spot on the Earth, and that spot is a crater, a meteor crater. And it's filled with water, and so it became this lake in Shungite or whatever it's called. I think it's next to Norway, but it's kind of a Western Russia area. I really want to go because I want to swim in this stuff because the Tsar of Russia swam in it, and he was like going, "Oh my God, I can't believe how great I feel." I mean, imagine he's just completely it's in a crater full of this stuff, right? And so he would make his troops go and bathe in it before they would go out and win these invincible battles. Pretty cool stuff. When you start to Google and research into Shungite, and there's all kinds of YouTubes about it, but you won't find anywhere where people will say this is some kind of conspiracy thing or this is some kind of tinfoil hat kind of thing. They'd love to do that because, we would all love to sell you antibiotics. That stuff's expensive, or whatever, or anything that kind of helps with your symptoms of your colds or whatever. Wouldn't it be really trippy if all you need to do is just put some of these into a bathtub or a decanter of water and drink it, and kind of cures a lot of your problems. So I'm putting this out there because I want to see what you guys, I want you to try it. Find a reputable store, buy it from a place that is literally at the source in Karelia, Russia. It'll take you about a month for you to get your box. You can buy it on Amazon. Looks good, but you're buying pictures, right? And again, the Chinese have been able to clone this stuff. So anyway, this puppy right here is 45 grams, $45 from the local store, and that's Canadian dollars, so that'd be something like in the $38, $36 range, US dollars or whatever. But anyway, I hope that this changes some lives out there because it's done a pretty cool, anyway, the potential, ooh, the potential, I can't do a Trump, scratch it, I'm going to edit that out. The pension, it will not help your speech. The potential is very trippy with Shungite. Look it up, Shungite, Nobel Prize, Fullerenes, buckyballs. That's what you look up. Okay? Ciao, baby.